Welcome to
Okay.
This on the Air. This is Ann J. White, your host, and I am so excited about introducing you to a renowned glass artist. More than glass, he's also a coach, a teacher with myriads of students all around the world these days. Let me introduce you to Kerry Transtrum. Kerry, thank you for taking time. I know you're busy today, but for popping in with us for a bit.
Well, Anne, it's a pleasure. It really is. It's really exciting what you're doing, and I am honored to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
How did glass pull you into this world of creativity and art?
Well, I'd always been an artist of sorts, my whole life. And I had dabbled in many things. I, like many people, stumbled into stained glass at an early age, and that's where it all got started for me. I had some friends um, in Utah that were doing stained glass. I spent a little time with them. They kind of showed me how to do stained glass, and it just really grabbed me. I was really attracted to it. I just really enjoyed working with it. I liked how it would cast a shadow in color. And then, not long after I was introduced to glass, I was introduced to fusing and how you could melt glass. And I remember being just so blown away. It's like, well, you mean you can actually have like an oven in your house and melt glass in your house? I was always comfortable around the heat, and I really loved how it changed from like a solid state to a molten state and then back into a solid state. The idea of melting glass or bending glass or kiln forming glass just really attracted me. And that's kind of been my focus ever since. This is 35 years ago.
Right. And you have a studio, a glass studio in Salt Lake City?
Yes, yes. I have a studio in Salt Lake City that I share with two other full-time glass artists that we have been together. The three of us, we're all old-time, full-time glass guys. That we've known each other for a long time, worked together for a long time. Studio de Verre is more or less just the name of the building. The three of us are in here. All three of us have our own businesses. We do a lot of work together. We collaborate on a lot of things, but really we're three separate entities. My studio is Glassfire Studio, has been
Mm,
for 30 years.
I gotcha.
But us working as a group collectively is in Studio de Verre.
I gotcha. And, before we go further, I'm going to do that share screen thing because I'd like folks to see some of the work you produce, because many people aren't as familiar with glass artists or glass art.
Sure.
So this is one of the pieces that you sent that I am not familiar with, but there's so much going on with this piece. Can you share some of the things about this piece?
Well, yeah, sure. It's called Head, Heart, Hands, and I did a series of head, heart, and hands work. Oh, it's been a number of years ago now, but it's all about your brain, where the thoughts come from, your heart, where the passion comes from, and then your hands that actually do the fabricating or the manufacturing. This particular piece I did at the Pilchuck Glass School in Washington.
I love it. How big is this piece?
Oh gosh, it's about 2 feet square.
Wow. Yeah, very
Something like it's fairly big. Yeah, it's fairly big.
okay. And then moving on, let's see. This piece, unusual. I've never seen anything like this before. So tell me, tell me about it.
Well, this piece is the relief casting. So there's 4 layers, but inside those layers, so the human head figure is hollow in this cube of glass. And this is about a 12 by 12 by 12 inches as well. It's what I call relief imagery. So all the imagery inside that is hollow and then sandblasted, so it gives it that kind of a frosted look. And then those 4 separate pieces of glass are just stacked up on top of each other. So if you could take them all off of
Mhm.
one and of another, and if you turn it upside down and look inside of it, where the head is all hollow.
Wow. That's just an amazing piece.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Thank you.
Now we're getting to the grand kind of scale.
Yeah, this was a commission piece from the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. In Embry-Riddle Aeronautical, the largest aeronautical university in the world, I think they have about 150 satellite campuses all over the world. It's a huge aeronautical university. The main campus is in Daytona Beach, Florida. They had just built a new flight center, commissioned me to do this sculpture called Reaching New Horizons for the interior of the flight center building. And this was installed in 2012. So it's been a few years ago. It's 17 feet tall.
Wow.
It's on an 8 foot diameter base.
It looks like I see three, but I don't know if there's one in the back.
There is one in the back. Yeah, from this angle you can just see the two, but there are three wings on this part, and actually the wings consist of two separate pieces that are stacked on top of each other because each one of those pieces are probably, well, let's see, remember they would just the glass itself would be about 12 feet. So I don't have equipment 12
Mhm.
feet long to make one piece in, but I could make two. So there are two pieces that are stacked up on top of each other. But each one of those bottom pieces were about 1,000 pounds
Wow.
each. So they're very hefty, 4 inches thick, and they're all polished on all sides too. As far as I know, it's the largest cast glass sculpture in the world. I don't know of anything any larger. And then it's all internally lit with LEDs, so it's very
That makes it
colorful.
shine. Yeah, I like the LED.
And I also wanted to make it interactive. You can see the seats, so it's someplace that you could actually sit down.
Mhm.
It's right in the doorway where all the student pilots come in on their way to filling out their records, and it's a place a student could stop, sit down, rest, read. I wanted it to be interactive with the
Mhm.
students, so that's why it's kind of a bench
Yeah. And it
as
just
well
draws
as
you in.
well
It's
as
got that ability to draw you into it. That's nice.
yeah. Well, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go on to this. I've been
Yeah.
fascinated by these eggs.
Well, there is two, and I'm working on a third one for the same company. This is a collaboration with me. That other picture was one of my partners, Stephen Tusher there, and yeah, this is called the We All Live window. Yeah, it's in collaboration with another studio, Holdman Studios of Lehi, Utah. They're building a gigantic art museum kind of a building called the Roots of Humanity, which, when completed, will be the largest art glass installation ever created in mankind. There's 14,000 square feet of mostly painted stained glass, some fused glass. These pieces were intended to be skylights in the ceiling. It was intended to have 14 of those. I've done three. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it more, if someone else is going to do more. I don't know, but we've done completed two. But the interesting thing about these windows, and Tom Holdman is really the mind behind it. And the whole story with the Roots of Humanity being a museum and an education center, it tells the story of humanity through glass from the beginning of time. So all the walls are stained glass, but starting at the bottom, it starts to tell the story of humanity from the beginning of time, and as you move around the building, it progresses through time. So each one of these pieces was very important to be not only an aesthetic piece, but also an educational piece. It was very important that these pieces tell a story, that it inspired people, that people came away from looking at these knowing more or feeling different than they did when they went in. So this particular one is about the oceans and how important the oceans are to our existence. So you can see several references in there of oceans, and actually there's about 20 hidden meanings in there. Again, it's got to tell a story. It's got to be an educational piece. So if you initially look at it, it looks like in the background there's an iceberg, But if you look closer to the top of the iceberg, they're really polar bears.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting about it, and that's what we intended it to do. You got to take a closer look at it. We didn't want it to like jump right out. It's like, oh, that's a polar bear. No, you got to spend a little time looking at it, and it invites you to kind of, spend a minute with it. And it's like, oh, wait, it's an iceberg. Wait, the ice have morphed into polar bears.
Mm.
So they are, and the bottom of the iceberg below the water is actually a human heart if you look in closely at it.
Mhm.
There's several references to pollution, like up in the left corner. There's kind of a skyline of smoky towers,
Mhm.
billowing smoke that then kind of morph into clouds. And like I say, there's several hidden meanings, but the most important one, I'll just tell you about one. The most important one is right in the center where the submarine is.
Right in here? Am I?
Yeah, there's a submarine back in there. And
Okay.
we thought, well, we would like to pay tribute to Jacques Cousteau, the famous French oceanographer that did so much for our oceans. And then I thought, it would be fun to have a little like Beatles Yellow Submarine reference in there because a lot of people know Jacques Cousteau, but everybody knows the Yellow Submarine, right?
You got it. Yeah. I
So
can't even
I
imagine how you built this. How long did it take to put this? Must be layer after layer, or what was it like to
yes,
create this?
well, it took close to a year to create it, several different layers. It varies in thickness anywhere from like a half an inch to an inch and a half. So multiple firings, maybe six or seven, I can't remember exactly how many, six or seven different firings. The base is fired very heavily to melt it all together. And then the top imagery is kind of melted in there at a lower temperature to maintain the relief. So the octopus down at the bottom really looks like an octopus. It's not all melted flat into the background. And the tortoise and the kelp and all the other things want to keep that in relief on the top to give it more dimension and make it look a little more interesting.
Oh, it's amazing. But let's talk about this one because this is the second one.
Okay, well, yes, this is another one in that series, and like I mentioned, these pieces was important to tell a story, to have a meaning, be an educational tool. This one is about the bees and how important the bees are to our existence. The bees are a keystone species to our existence. So this particular one tells a story all about the bees. It's in kind of an egg-shaped form because the internal structure in the building are kind of like or trees, kind of looking structural column. These are called nesting eggs, so it's like that egg shape. But the egg shape in here is also kind of representative of a B shape. And if you can zoom in that where my hands are on there, there's a bee wing, like a translucent bee wing overlaying the entire piece. So it
Right
kind
in.
of so that all kind of looks like a bee. And then just like the other one, there's several hidden meanings in there to tell a story. The sun at the beginning or at the top of it is in a keystone shape because bees are a keystone species to our environment, and the sun is also a honeycomb for a bee. The stamen in the flower is a honeycomb in the shape of the continent Asia, and there's a place marked on it in Asia where the bees were first came from. Several hidden meanings in there like that. They become really quite interesting pieces.
Yeah, the story behind the art. Amazing. Yeah, so here's our other piece. Now, Glass in the Garden, George Choice Award, and it's a marvelous piece. So tell us about this piece, you old hippie or rocker. What is it, an old rocker?
Well, yeah, yeah. It's a portrait of one of my favorite blues guitarist, Johnny Winter, the late great Johnny Winter, Edgar Winter's brother. I think people are more familiar with Edgar than they are with Johnny, but he was a great blues player, not with us anymore. But it was a portrait that I did in the style of work like what we're doing, Anne. I know you're in our painting with glass community with Narcissus. Um, pretty much all the techniques, everything that I put together in this piece came from things that I had learned in that class. And this particular picture of it on this postcard, Glass at the Garden, just a little bit on that is with the Glass Art Guild of Utah. We do a show at the University of Utah. This last year was our 22nd annual show. Anyway, so this picture on this card is advertising the Glass in the Garden, which is an annual show that our local Glass Guild does.
I know you're going to be doing something with a place called Pilchuck, and very few people besides glass artists know what that word even means. Do you want to explain what Pilchuck is, and then either some of your experiences or what you're looking forward to in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, you're right, and unless you're in the glass world, that probably doesn't mean anything to you. If you are in the glass world, it means quite a bit. It's the premier glass school in the world. It was started by Del Chihuly in the 70s, and everyone in the glass world knows Del Chihuly, and really a lot of people out of the glass world know Del Chihuly. But in the art world, everybody knows. If anybody knows anything, any glass art, it's Del Chihuly. Well, Dale started the school in the 70s, still going strong. I've been there. This will be my sixth time there. They run sessions during the summer. They have five sessions, and they vary in time from like 2 weeks to 3 weeks. I'm going there in June with Narcissus Fogliata, another world-class glass artist, a guy who I've known for many years. He is doing an artist in residency at the school. And then after the artist in residency, he's teaching a workshop. So he has asked me to be his assistant at his artist in residency and then to stay on and also be a TA through his workshop. So we will be there for a total of 5 weeks, which is a long time. But the Pilchuck School, I mean, it's really a magical place. If you don't know, look it up. It's in the middle of the forest. The campus is very isolated. You live on campus, you eat on campus, you study on campus. I mean, once you're there, there's really no need to go anywhere. Everything, you stay in a cabin. It's kind of like a summer camp for glass artists, and it's like world renowned. I mean, it's like the best known instructors. It's an experience. It's really a wonderful experience, and I'm lucky to be able to go there again. There's just like there's no place like that in our world, in the glass world, for education.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited about for you because I didn't say this yet, but Kerry is one of my coaches in a painting with glass community with Narcissus Fogliata. And so a lot of times we see what he's working on. So I am sure we're going to get bits and pieces of your experience at Pilchuck that you'll be sharing with us when you get back. Hopefully.
It's really gonna be great, and it's been a real pleasure to have Anne in the community. We started the community at the first of the year. I think it's going great, and you've certainly been a wonderful addition to that group. It's always a pleasure to have you in there. So,
and that's why when I say Kerry coaches, besides your teaching when you used to travel to teach, this community brings glass people from all around the world into these classes where Kerry is one of the coaches. And I think it would behoove us both to say something to other people who may not know it. Is there are ways for other glass artists to come into this community, I would think, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about it. I've been an educator for years, and I used to do a lot of traveling and teaching, and I kind of for about 10 years, I did a lot of traveling and teaching, and I honestly kind of got burnt out of traveling and shipping equipment and teaching in hotels and convention centers and such. And I turned away from that at one point and focused more on commission work. But now with Zoom, you don't have to do any of that. I mean, it's amazing. You don't have to travel and you don't have to move equipment, and you can reach 1,000 times the people. It's worldwide in this community. And when we're in a session, there's people from all over the world in there. It's fabulous. It's great. And all of that is comes from Narcissus Quagliata. He's the 83-year-old glass master that developed these techniques. Getting to the latter part of his life, he is like, I've done so much work with this. I'm getting on in my life. I want to share this information. I don't want this information to die with me. So he created this first a master class for 3 years that is now over and has transitioned into this painting with glass community. It's a community, but and it's a group effort. It's a community effort, which is what I really love about it. It's like everybody chimes in, everybody helps everyone else. Everyone is learning from everyone else. I learn more from the students than they learn for me, and it's a really everybody learns from each other. Anyone can join through NQ Teaching. If anyone's interested, NQ Teaching is where you would find more information about the community.
But before we leave, you have mentioned Narcissus's name, Narcissus Quagliata. What impact has he had on your work?
Well, that's really an interesting question because it's immense. It's really big. I'll kind of give you the short version, but back 30 years ago when I just started learning to fuse glass and loving it, but not really knowing what I was going to do with it. Had a kiln. I was playing around with it. I had all this different types of glass in different forms: crushed glass, sheet glass, blocks, bricks of glass. All these things. It was all cool, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with it. I went to a conference in Las Vegas, Glasscraft Expo, and they had this guy there was speaking there and teaching a short workshop. This Narcissus Quagliata. I didn't know who he was. I'd never heard of him before, but I could tell they were making a pretty big deal about this guy being there. So I better get in see on what's going on. So I listened to him speak, and then I took just this really short workshop from him. And honestly, it was one of those defining moments that I left that workshop like knowing, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do with this. I want to do things like this guy is doing because this is really, really fun. So that sent me down a path that I'm still continuing today. And it's really, really interesting because now after all these years and we've kind of, our paths have crossed and I've studied with him a little bit here and there, kind of got to know him a little bit, helped him on a project last summer at the Bullseye Glass Factory. And now he is coming to my studio on Monday to create a new body of work that we are going to start to make here, continue to build on in the residency at Pilchuck and in the following workshop. So the whole story about first getting to know him 30 years ago, have him having such an impact on my artistic path, and now he's going to be in my studio with me. I know, I can't believe it. Him being here and having the opportunity to work, so closely with him. That whole story to come around full circle.
I love that.
Is really, really cool.
I love that. And then going with him to Pilchuck to work together that closely with not only his, but I'm sure you're going to have other ideas popping for yourself while you're there.
Yeah, certainly.
What I'm smiling a little bit because you're talking about your job. How many people get that excited about going to work and creating? And, I could just see that excitement of, this is this man's job. So thank you.
Well, I tell you, Ann, I count my blessings every day because I get up, I come down to a beautiful studio, work with two of my best friends. I have everything here I need, equipment wise, material wise, help. Well, I have everything I need here. It's a pleasure to come here every day. And my other two partners say the same thing.
No.
I love going to work. I love going down there every day.
Thanks, Kerry. This has been so exciting. My face is sore from smiling because it's just so exciting to see your work and the nuances of some of the things you've been doing. Thank you for taking time because I know it's busy getting ready to have Narcissus come
Uh,
into your community, but thank you for joining me on Artist on the Air.
Hey, no problem, man. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, sincerely. It really means a lot that you would ask me. It really means a lot that to me that you're in this wonderful community. And please know if there's anything I can do to help you through the community or anything else, by all means, that's what I'm there for. I'm dedicated to helping people there. If there's anything I can do, I'm more than happy to.